So in the series of learning Python programming language, in the previous video we have seen 4 else, right? We have discussed for loop and 4 else, right? Now we'll be seeing one coding exercise based on that. With the help of for loop we will do this exercise. So what is the program? You have to write down a program to calculate average height from a list of heights. Maybe you are thinking it's very simple. Yeah, definitely it's very simple, but there is some twist. It's not like that. Just take a list of height, something like this, like list 1 I'm taking, and here we can take some height like 151, 53, 60, 140, like this. And then what? Some of these heights, we have a inbuilt function, in list, that is sum. So that we can use to do sum, and we know how many elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 elements. So sum divided by 4 and you will get the average. No. Or maybe if you want to find out the length of the list, then also we have one function, that is length function, that will give you length of this, and simply you can just divide and that is average. No, there is some twist, right? So first of all, note down some points. First thing, you cannot use sum and length functions, right? You have to replicate their functionalities with the help of for loop, right? We'll be using for loop to replicate these functionalities. We cannot use inbuilt functions, right? Next thing is, we cannot take something like this. You have to take input from the user using input function, right? We'll take user input using input function. So you have to aware about this function, right? The properties and functionality of this function. Third thing is what? Now the output should be, it's a whole number. You have to round the answer to the nearest whole number. So 3 things you need to take care, right? First thing, let me just repeat, we cannot use these 2 functions. Second, use input function to take input from the user. Third thing, the answer should be rounded off to the nearest whole number. Third thing, right? Now let me just give you some hint. Or maybe if you have done that exercise, who will pay the bill? I think that was coding exercise 11 or 12. So in that we have used one function, split. So here also you have to use this function. First function is split, you have to use, right? Because whenever you take input from the user using input function, that would be considered as a string, right? And I have told you average height from a list of heights. So you have to convert that into list. So split will divide and something like this, right? So you must have heard about, I think, this split function, right? If not, you can Google out this and you can use this, right? Second function will be using range. Now what is this range? See, if I write range 5, so it will give you 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 numbers total, but by default it will start from 0 till 4. If you write range 10, it will give 0 to 9. If you want to specify a particular range, like I want from 11 to 20, so you can specify 11 to here, not 20, because it will give 11, 12, 13, 14 till 19. This is start, this is stop minus 1. If you want till 20, then you should specify here 21. So range will just generate a series of numbers. By default will be starting from 0. So you no need to specify the starting point, but you have to specify the ending point where you want to end the range, the sequence, right? And third is also step size. But for this exercise, that is enough. Start point, stop point, and range. We will be discussing in detail this range function in later videos. So 2 function you need to use, split and range, right? So now I guess you know what you have to do. I think you understood this problem statement. So now pause the video and try this out. So I hope you are done with this exercise. If you got stuck, then it's okay. Let's see the solution. So let me just create a new file first here, coding exercise 14.py. Okay, so first we'll take input from the user. Let's take a variable heights, and with input function we will take, right? Okay, now using input we will see like enter all height separated by a space. So whatever, suppose this I am entering, let me just comment this section, this out, this line 151, 153, like 140 or 160 and 167, something like this. These are the heights. But now this is what? A string, because using input function you are taking this input. So this is what a complete string. But I want the separate, this should be a separate item, 151 height of one person or student, 153 height of second person, right? So what we can do, what we can split this string. We have a split function. Using that will convert this string into a list, right? And that will split each item here. So how we can use that split function? The variable is height. In heights we have the value heights dot split function, right? And here will be on which, like a separator, from where you want to split this string. So I want to split wherever it split function find a space, split that, like 151, after that we have a space. So split from here, 151 would be a separate item. Then 153, then again a space, then 153, that is a separate item, right? So on space I want to split. If you want to split based on comma, so simply you can put here, while inputting you can put here comma, and here you can specify like I want to split this based on a comma, right? But I want to split this, here separator is a space, so nothing you need to specify here, right? Now after splitting it will create a list. So that list I'll be storing in a variable, in a list. The name I am taking like height underscore list. Okay. Now if you want to check out, then you can just simply print this height underscore list. And let me just run this for you and I'll show you the output. Enter all height separated by a space, like 153, 142, 34, 12, like I'm taking any as random heights. See now, this is what a list now. 153 is a separate item, 142 is a separate item, but here the problem is 153 is in these quotes, means it is a string, still it is a string, but we want integer, right, not string. So what we will do now, you have to convert each item of the list into int. Yeah, we know we can typecast using int. So maybe you are thinking here only we can use like int, something like this, int height split, but no, that will give you an error. That is not a good idea. See, if you run this, you will get an error, something like that. This is just to show you the error. See, type error, int argument must be a string. So this int argument, this must be a string, a byte like object or a real number, not a list, because height dot split is it is a list, and in int, in argument we cannot give a list, right? So okay, that's not a good idea. So how you can convert each and every item into integer? First take 151, convert it into int, then 153, convert it into int, then 140, convert it into int. So you have to traverse the complete list. It's okay, we have for loop, using that we can traverse the list, right? Okay, let's see. You know the index of, syntax of for loop. For a variable name, I am taking suppose I. Now in maybe you are thinking just take this variable name height list. This is because this is a list. So using index we can fetch the value. So if you write like height list and I is equal to each and every item, because you have to convert height list I. Okay, maybe you are thinking this will work. We are taking every element and we are converting that into int, and then we are printing this. Okay, let's run this and check. See, here we got an error, syntax error. Okay, for we have to put here a colon. Let's run this again. Suppose height I am entering something like this, any height, but still you are getting an error, type error. List indices must be integer or slice, not string. This index, now in height list we have this list, suppose this list. So now first of all in I 151 would be assigned, but 151 is a string. So in I it will be 151, but this index should be a integer, not a string. Okay, and obviously index of this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want to access, because rather than this I 151 here should be 0. Then for 153 here should be 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, something like this. So we cannot use like in height list, we cannot traverse this something like this. This is wrong. So I have given you second hint, use a range function. Range from 0 to, or if you will not give 0, then by default it will take 0. But I want from 0 to, see, index would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we can give here 5. But next time if user enter 10 heights, then this range function would be from 0 to 4. What about that? Next time I'll give 7 heights, then, so we cannot write down here static value 5. You have to find out the length of this list. Length of this list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And we cannot use length function for that. So how you can find out the length? Okay. For finding out the length, we will take suppose a variable count. We have a variable count at starting, count is having 0 value. Now for loop, for I am taking a variable height, suppose height in height list. Just traverse this list, height list, and for every element just add, count equal to count plus 1. For every element add, at starting count would be 0. Then now in this for loop, in this variable name, this height list is suppose this one. So 151 would be assigned, right? 151 in this height list, yes, it's true. Enter here, then count becomes count plus 1, count becomes 1. Then 153 would be assigned here. This is also true, 153 is in the list, right? Then again enter here, then count becomes 2, like this. So how many times this list, this for loop would be iterated? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So now at last count becomes 5. Now we got the length, right, without using length function. I hope you got the working of this thing, right? Now in count finally we have what? 5. Let's print count and I'll show you. Let's print count here and just comment out these lines, right? So let's run this. Okay. Like I have given 1, 2, 3, 4 heights. So enter. See, the length is 4. Means count is 4, means we have calculated the length 4, right? Okay, now fine. Now we can use this count, this variable here. 0 to, it should go, range is 0 to count, right? Or if you not specify 0, that is also fine, because by default it will take 0. The range would be from 0. I have given you this hint, right? Now height list I is equal to int height list I, and that's it. Now print height list. So let's run this again. I'll show you the output. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 45 or 56. I know how height would not be 1 and all, because we will take in centimeters. So 1 centimeter is not, it's a meaningful height, but just to get you familiar with this range and in this function. See, first of all count will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 elements, so it will print 5. And now at this time, see, 1, 2, 3, 45, 56. But there is no these quotation marks. So now this time the 1, 2, 3, 45 is now integer. Now we have successfully converted this into int. Till now, I hope you got this thing, right? Okay. Now next step is what? So I hope now no need to explain the working of this for loop. I guess you can dry run this For I in range count, count is what here? Suppose we are taking this example, so count is 5, 0 to 4 it will generate the number. So first of all 0 to 4 like this, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So first of all the 0 would be assigned to this I. Now height list 0 is equal to int height list 0. So height list 0 means at 0th index we have 51, that would be converted into int and that would be assigned into again here height list I. So now 151 become integer, then 153 like this, right? Okay. Now rather than printing this height list here, what we will do, you have to calculate now sum. We have total because we have calculated count. We have like length of the list we can calculate. Now you have to calculate sum of these elements and then we can simply divide. So for sum what we will do, at first, okay, we will take any variable like sum is equal to 0. We are going to define a variable. Now traverse the list and add one by one each item in the sum. Very simple. Okay, and for traversing we have a for loop. So for, you can take any variable, you can take again I or height, same variable you can take. Anything you can take, right? A, B, C, X, Y, Z, or for each for loop you can take I or height or any other. That is fine. But suppose I am taking here for person in height list. For each person in this height list, the variable name I am taking this time person, right? Sum equal to sum plus person. Or rather than this, we can use shorthand like this, sum plus equal to person, that is also fine. Same thing, sum is equal to sum plus person or sum plus equal to person, right? Okay, it will add one by one each element till 167 and finally we can print sum, but we want average. So rather than printing sum, what we can do, calculate average. So suppose we have a variable avg, average equal to this sum, or rather than sum because sum is a function here. So we cannot take variable name as function name. So we'll take total. So rather than printing this total, we will do what? We'll just directly calculate average. Average equal to total divided by count, right? And we can simply print avg. Okay, let's run this and see what output we will get. Okay, we'll take height 151, 153 and 142, 160, 167. That's it. 5 heights we are taking. Enter. See, it will print first of all count, the length is 5, then 154.6. But one thing we haven't done till yet, we have to round this to the nearest whole integer. So it would be rounded to 155. Right? I hope you know the working of round function. We have done this also. We have discussed round function also. So better to round this using round function, round avg. Okay, let's run this now. I'll be using the same input again. Let's run this again and same. This time see, 155. We have rounded this off to 155, the nearest whole integer. Previous it was 154.6, right? So this is our program. I hope this is not so much complicated. So if you haven't get this, it's okay. Just focus on this. Just write down this coding on a pen and paper, on your paper, right? Dry run this. Take one example. Dry run this one by one with your hand, right? And then definitely you will get it, right? It's not that tough. Or simply like something like this. If you want to print like this, like average height is something like this, we can also do. rather than simply printing that. So let's run this again for the same. So average height is 155. Okay, but the main thing is, I think you have, there are 3 or 4 points, like you have to understand split function, then how to calculate length with the for loop, then what is this range, then how to calculate sum, how to find out sum with the help of for loop without using inbuilt function, and average is simple, total divided by the length or the count, right? So that's it for this exercise now. So I hope you got this exercise. In the next video, we'll see one more coding exercise. So now I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye. Take care.